Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the council chambers here in the police station. This is the time and place that's been properly noticed for the regular meeting of the Caldwell City Council. Happy New Year! Happy New Year! It's good to see all of your faces out there, and welcome to the chambers tonight. We hope your time here with us is beneficial and enjoyable. We want to again wish everybody Happy New Year, like I say, and thank you for coming out on such a nasty cold evening. But see what happens when the community prays for snow and moisture, right? So it's wonderful. So thank you to everyone for coming out tonight. We will begin this evening with an invocation offered by Wayne Eklund of the First Assembly of God Church. If you'd all please rise for the invocation and then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful for this new year. We're grateful for this city, the leadership, the past leaders that have gotten us to this point, and the new leaders that will take us into the future. We ask for your knowledge to be shared here and for your wisdom to apply that knowledge for the greatest good. May there be a spirit of cooperation in this city. And we'll give you praise, glory, and honor. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so very much, and please be seated. Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Alden.
Here.
Wagner.
Here.
Hopper.
Here.
Olson.
One more time.
Allard.
Here.
McGee.
Here. Thank you. We have a full council to hear the items of business before us this evening. And again, if you have an agenda, I'll just make sure that we're all, or if you don't have an agenda, just make sure that we're all understanding how tonight will go. Obviously, this is the current mayor and council who will conduct the first part of this meeting because there's old business on the calendar and items that were completed, hearings that were completed and so forth under this council. So the old council will conduct the first part of this meeting, and then after we get done with the consent calendar, we will then proceed forward with a financial report, which again this council will approve as the items on the finance report have been expended and approved by the body that is sitting here. And then we will begin the process of the new council and members of the mayor's, mayor supervisory council, members of the city council to be sworn in and take their positions here up on the podium. So just to make sure everyone understands that's how we'll go, and again, welcome all of you tonight. And this is one of those bittersweet meetings for me, and we'll give the council members that are departing, and I'll say a few things at the appropriate time. But again, thank you all for coming tonight. It's a pleasure to have you here. Are there any items on the agenda that present a conflict of interest for council members? Okay, there is a special presentation this evening, and it's something that is important, and we wanted to bring to the attention of the public. And so we have one last proclamation by this body. It's called the National Human Trafficking Awareness Day. Whereas the inherent dignity, freedom, and autonomy of every person deserves to be respected and protected. And whereas human trafficking is often a hidden crime that knows no boundaries, with as many as 24.9 million people, adults and children, are trapped in forms of modern slavery around the world, including in the United States. And whereas over 70% of those being trafficked are women and girls who experience high rates of physical and sexual violence, and whereas the majority of its victims are already part of an at-risk population. And whereas we acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase human trafficking awareness and continue to promote the social and emotional well-being of men, women, and children in safe, stable, nurturing environments. And whereas living with our eyes wide open to the reality of human trafficking in the Caldwell community remains our best defense. Now therefore, on behalf of the City Council, I, Garrett Nancolis, Mayor of the City of Caldwell, Idaho, do hereby proclaim January 12, 2022 as Caldwell Human Trafficking Awareness Day in the City of Caldwell, and urge all citizens to work together to eliminate the scourge of human trafficking in our community. And I've signed that as the Mayor of Caldwell. And again, just wanted to bring that, again, to a point of awareness in the public. This is something that could affect anyone, whether immediately or a family member, or someone you know, someone you go to church with, and it happens. And so, with the work of our police department, and others, Advocates Against Family Violence, and city community leaders, we wanted to bring this to the attention of everyone and just ask for your awareness, because the only way it gets solved is if we do our part. And so thank you for letting us read that proclamation this evening. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the council on an item that is not on the calendar?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just sort of an addendum to what you just said. My name is Dave Moody. I'm a representative of Love Caldwell here, and Love Caldwell, Flying M, and the Idaho Anti-Trafficking Coalition are sponsoring a forum next Wednesday, the 12th, at Flying M from 7 to about 8:15. And we're going to hear two stories from Tori McKim at Flying M, as well as Deb Kraft here, who actually separately ran into young women being trafficked and helped them and all. And so out of that has come a desire to sort of raise the awareness. So we're having a forum next Wednesday, the 12th. There's information on it here, and it's really, what do we look for, and then when we see it, what do we do? How do we do that? So it's a great community we have, and we want to just make it great for everybody. So thank you.
Thank you very much for bringing that. Again, January 12th, is that correct?
January 12th, yes, next Wednesday night.
Okay, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Is there anyone else who would like to address the council? Sir?
Chris Strakel, 2019 Fairview Avenue, Caldwell. One, I had a comment and then two questions that I'd like to make. The first comment I have is dealing with Northern Urban Renewal. A lot of you guys, the old council, passed it, and are gonna throw this in the lap of the new city council that's coming up and the new mayor. I would like to protest on behalf of myself and a lot of people that are behind me, that we don't feel that that's right. And the new council should be the ones to decide whether or not it goes forward or not. Questions I have now have to deal with the appointment that's going on tonight.
That's on the agenda, so.
That's right.
It's on the agenda, so.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Okay, so do I have to wait till then to speak, or?
There
was no sign-up sheet, so.
There's no sign-up sheet for that, so. It'll be brought up by the new mayor under new business.
All right,
And that
thanks.
is on the agenda.
All right.
Is there anyone else? Thank you. All right. The items on the consent calendar are before the city council, and again, these are items that are final actions of preliminary or previous actions by this council, or purchases that were approved through the regular budgeting process, and these are considered routine in nature, and so they are brought to the council under one item. So we have those before you this evening.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Pollard.
I move that we approve the consent calendar as printed.
Thank you. Is there a second? A motion by Mr. Pollard, second by Mr. Wagner to approve the, pardon? Mr. McGee, I'm sorry. By Mr. McGee to approve the consent calendar as printed. Is there any further discussion? I would like to bring up one. If there are members of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council that are being appointed tonight, if you would please stand up. This is the Executive Committee of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, and just wanted to welcome them. These are youth in our community who give me great faith and confidence in what's going to happen in the future. So, Giselle, nice to have you here. Thank you very much, and because they are an official body of the city, just the same as the golf board or library board or any other board or commission, which you see those appointments on the calendar this evening, to serve until the end of the school year. And I am a little prejudiced, but the one in front is my sweet little granddaughter, Lily. And Giselle, thank you so very much for being here. Both members of the executive committee, and it's nice to have you here tonight. We'd also like to thank the other members of boards and commissions that were appointed tonight. Those are wonderful positions. We could not accomplish the things in the city we do without those. And we're grateful for those who are willing to serve as volunteers on those boards and commissions. A lot of good work is done there. So thank you very much. So would the clerk call the roll, please? Yes.
McKee,
Here.
Aldred,
Yes.
Wagner.
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. Thank you very much. The items on the consent calendar are approved unanimously by the call of City Council. All right, there is no old business this evening. The first item under new business is the Financial Committee report.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Allgood.
this will be the last time I get to say that, and this was for you, but here we go. The Finance Committee has reviewed current accounts payable in the amount of $2,468,737.53 for the period ending December 29, 2021. A net payroll of $437,894.01 for pay period ending December 18, 2021. I move that accounts payable in the amount of $2,468,737.53, represented by check numbers 158671 through 159094, and payroll in the amount of $437,894.01, represented by check numbers 36834 through 36856, and direct deposits be accepted, payments approved, and vouchers filed in the office of the city clerk.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Allgood, second by Mr. Hopper, to approve the financial report as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries unanimously. All right, well, that went by quickly, and I can't believe it's time to say farewell. The past 24 years have been the privilege of a lifetime, and I am so grateful for this community and giving me the privilege to serve as its mayor for that amount of time. And during that time, the best part of it is I've had the privilege of serving with some of the most amazing, talented, professional, honest, hardworking people ever, anywhere. So to the council members to my right, thank you. You are amazing. Together, and to my left, I'm sorry to all of you, but these are, so that didn't come off quite the way I thought.
We got the message.
Okay, this is hard, it's my last one. But together, we have gone through a lot of different circumstances and issues to bring us to the point we are today. And a lot of them have been greatly successful, but even the ones that were hard taught us, and we learned, and we moved forward. Together, we have guided the city through two very, very serious financial downturns in the economy, and we've come out the other side in good financial shape. We are handing over a city that is debt-free. There is no debt. And that's an amazing thing. If you take a look around, your fingerprints, all of you, are everywhere. Whether it's the beautiful lights that everyone walked past tonight to come into the city and the beautiful downtown that's been created, or the new business park where there's numerous new businesses that have come and created good paying jobs for the city and its families, whether it's the parks, whether it's transportation projects, whether it's successfully approving budgets that place families as a priority. Those things will leave your fingerprints on this community in a very positive way forever. Caldwell's reputation has changed over the past years, and it wasn't that great, if you go back not that far ago, but it is different. Caldwell is a destination point. It is a place that is respected in the valley, in the state. It is a city that is respected nationally for the accomplishments. We have received awards, national awards, state awards, smart growth awards, compliments on the way the treatment plant is run and the efficiency. The downtown has received numerous awards and recognition. Our audit, we get A+ every year on our audit. Those are meaningful things that often fly under the radar. Our airport is the busiest airport in the state of Idaho. Many of you may not know that, but it is the busiest airport, and recently we just adopted a new master plan and renamed the airport, fitting with its growth and its place in the Treasure Valley. Downtown Caldwell was recognized as the #1 destination point in the valley, even above the Village and Meridian. We were rated #1 by local folks. That's a pretty amazing thing in the valley. So those are things that we can all be very, very proud of. Also, the fact that families have been made the most important unit in society by this city, and that is reflected also in the walkability, the crime has been reduced dramatically, the partnerships that have been created throughout this city with the college, with the school districts, with Destination Call, the Chamber of Commerce, with the business community. Those partnerships didn't happen by accident. They took hard work. And you're all a part of that. Those decisions were good decisions. They were positive decisions. The policies that you have set regarding, again, the budget, city ordinances, those are amazing things. I just want to compliment you all. And it's been a privilege to serve with you. I am forever grateful for your courage, for your commitment, for your passion, for your support, for your friendship, for your kindness. That will be something I will treasure for the rest of my life. To the appointed officials, there's 11 of you. You too could be included in everything that I just said, because without your dedication, professionalism, without your honesty, your integrity, your willingness to roll up your sleeves and do those things without caring who gets credit, they would never have happened. They would never have happened. This staff is amazing. The appointed officials are second to none. I would put them up against any appointed official anywhere, in any community, any size, anywhere. The employees, there are over 300 employees in the city of Caldwell who also share that same passion and dedication and commitment to this city. The work that the employees do to make sure that services are provided, that our citizens are taken care of, that they're treated with kindness and respect. That is certainly something this community can be proud of. The legacy that this city leaves behind will be remembered for decades and decades to come. And congratulations to the employees, council, appointed officials, business partners, community members, volunteers, citizens who made it all happen. It doesn't happen without teamwork. And that's what we believe in, and so that's what we will hopefully pass forward. To the new mayor, congratulations. You were overwhelmingly elected twice. And that's a credit to you and the campaign that you ran, and I congratulate you, we all congratulate you on a successful campaign. The city has spoken, and you are going to be the new mayor here in just a few moments. Jeremy and I have visited several times recently, very pleasant and meaningful conversations about what is to come. And I have confidence in Jeremy. I wish him the best. And it's not easy. There's a whole lot more to this job than anyone will ever know unless they've walked in those shoes, right, Jim? Right. And it's, things that you lose sleep over and worry about, and contemplate, and think about, and pray about, and worry about, and think about. Those things will happen often, and I wish you the best. You will be you already have been in my thoughts and prayers. To the new council members, congratulations. We wish you success and happiness as you move forward. Hopefully we've paved a path that will be easy for you to follow in, and we wish you success. I'm sorry, I'm vertically challenged, so I can't really see you. I can see the tops of your head, and I apologize for that. But to the new council members, we wish you success and happiness. And again, it's, I know Chuck has been, there you are, Chuck. Chuck's been on the council before, and so he has a feel for what the office involves. But for the two new council members, we wish you success as you learn and grow. Again, it's a big job. It's something that will weigh on your shoulders at times, but again, working together and working with these great appointed officials and working together as a council, working with the mayor, I have every confidence that you guys will do a phenomenal job and move the city forward. Lastly, oh my gosh, here we go. To my wife, children, grandchildren. I'm the luckiest guy on the planet. I'm the most blessed guy on the planet. Jeremy, your wife, will find out how, what it's like being the first lady of the city, and your family will find out. There's good and not so good about it as well. If somebody doesn't like you, unfortunately, it reflects, and it transfers to your children, and they don't deserve that, if you know what I mean. You have a wonderful family. But they come through it, and they survive, right? Just like my wife and my children and my grandchildren, we survive, and we're better for it. And honey, I love you. I am glad to be spending more time with you. I hope you don't get tired of me now that I'm around more often, and wish that I hadn't retired. I can assure you that she has a honey-do list about this long. I am excited to jump into, but as you know, we're still raising our grandchildren, and I'll have the privilege of helping with that, and my sweet little granddaughter. I love you, Lily, Melody, Caleb, and Ashley. To my extended family, I see Brad, and I don't know if there's other family members back there, but thank you for coming, for your support over the years. And to the citizens and public of Caldwell, I love you. What a privilege it's been to serve, and I am so thankful for each and every one of you. This is a good city. With that, I'll be quiet. I know that the only thing standing between me and the new folks is for me to be quiet, so with that, I'll say thank you again. It's been the privilege of a lifetime. I'll treasure it forever. Thank you for that privilege. Thank you. Thank you very much. I wish I'd have brought my phone, I'd have taken a picture of that. But it was at 1%. So I left it at home on the charger. Council members, is there anything that you'd like to say as, before the new folks take their places?
Well, I would just like to say it's been an honor to serve the citizens of this city, over the last almost 10 years. And to serve with this council, and especially you, Mr. Mayor. It's been an honor to know you, to call you a friend, to visit with you, and we're going to continue to visit.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
And I just want to say to Mr. Doty, seat one is the seat that shakes everything up.
Thank you, Mr. Pollard. Mr. Carlson.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to thank the staff out there. You know, we make the final decision, but you guys give the guidance, and I really appreciate what you guys have done, the extra work that you've done. And for the new candidates, congratulations. I'm excited to see you come in and sit here and take the reins and make things happen. The biggest thing I can suggest and encourage you is to listen to that staff, because they are there to help you. I want to thank also this council. You guys are just my family now. I just really care about you. I thank you for that. Mr. Mayor, I don't have the words to say enough for you, but I want to say thank you to you and to Pam for her dedication to allow you to do this job. You've done it marvelously, and and thankful to have been here for 47 years now to serve this community, and I'm thankful that I got to spend the last part of it with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hopper.
Well, Mr. Mayor, there's, nothing I could say any better than you do. But it's been a great ride. I've enjoyed every minute of it. You have been a terrific mentor to me. And, I'll always remember the hills we've climbed, the obstacles we've overcome. And, I'm not gonna miss you, because we'll stay together on this, but, I will miss these experiences, because they have been spectacular. Come a long way.
Would you please join me in thanking these three wonderful council members for their hard work? Well, I guess I'll stay standing, because, it is now time for, the city clerk to swear in Mayor-elect, soon-to-be Mayor Jeremy Wagner. Congratulations, sir.
We're gonna ask Lisa Wagner if she could come and join us as well. Our new first lady. I, Jeremy Wagner,
I, Jeremy Wagner,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Idaho,
the Constitution of the State of Idaho,
and the laws and ordinances of the City of Caldwell,
and the laws and ordinances of the City of Caldwell,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of mayor
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of mayor
of the City of Caldwell,
of the City of Caldwell,
Canyon County, Idaho,
Canyon County, Idaho,
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability,
during my continuance therein.
during my continuance therein. Those are better than the ones I got.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Never thought there would be that many butterflies.
I know, is this, to have a seat heater in it? 'Cause it sure feels a lot warmer than that one did over there. Very good. So just a thank you to Mayor Nancolis and to the council members. We will miss you greatly. You've done wonderful things for this city. We couldn't begin, if we wanted to all the things you've done and where we're at today, and we owe a huge debt of gratitude to you, Mr. Mayor, and to all of you council members. So thank you so much again for all that you have done. So our love and prayers go with you, and excited for you and your new adventures in the future. So, and excited for the new adventures here with those that are still remaining. So with that, we'll move on. With the action items of business, we'll do the official oath of office done by the city clerk. We will first do city council seat number 1, Mr. Brad Doty. Following that, we'll do city council seat number 2, Mr. Chuck Stodick. And then city council seat number 3, Diana Register. So, Mr. Doty, if you'd like to come forward.
I, Brad Doty,
I, Brad Doty,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United
the
States,
Constitution ordinances of the city of Caldwell. And I will faithfully discharge the duties of council member seat number 1.
I will faithfully discharge the duties of city council seat 1.
There you go. Of the city of Caldwell,
Of the city of Caldwell,
Canyon County, Idaho,
Canyon County, Idaho,
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability,
during my continuance there.
during my continuance there. Thank you.
Mr. Stoddard, you are next.
Okay. I, Chuck Scott,
I, Chuck Stein,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Idaho,
the Constitution of the State of Idaho,
and the laws and ordinances
and the laws and ordinances
of the city of Caldwell,
of the city of Caldwell,
and I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of council member seat number 2
the duties of council member seat number 2
of the city of Caldwell,
of the city of Caldwell,
Canyon County, Idaho,
Canyon County, Idaho,
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
during my continuance therein.
during my continuance therein.
You got it.
And Ms. Register, you are next.
I just noticed that Brad hasn't taken your salary.
I, Diana Register, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Idaho, and the laws and ordinances of the city of Caldwell. And I will faithfully discharge the duties of city council member seat number 3, of the city of Caldwell, Canyon County, Idaho, to the best of my ability, during my continuance therein. Great.
Very good. Well, so far so good. Haven't made any mistakes yet, so, but there's much more time to come for that. Congratulations to all 3 of you. So we're excited to serve together, work together as we have the common goal of making Caldwell the greatest place we can. So we're excited to work together on that in all those aspects. The next item, item number 3, action item, is the mayor's presentation of appointment for city council seat number 4. So you'll notice that this is the mayor's presentation on that. So we'll not be taking testimony from the general public in regards to this action item. I do want to explain the process to what brought us to where we're at today for the seat number 4. And I have invited a few of the members of the committee to speak on it as well, so they can explain the process that we went through to come to the name that we will be presenting to you tonight. Excuse me. So just to go over that, so when a seat is vacant, such as seat 4 now is, due to my becoming mayor and leaving that seat vacant, the code dictates that the new mayor chooses whom he would like to fulfill that seat, and then it's ratified more or less by the city council. So we have undergone a lengthy process, a great process to choose that. Rather than me just choosing someone at will, we put together a great committee. We had applications that were accepted in by the city, and then reviewed those as a committee. There was interviews that took place, so we just wanted to go over that a little bit and invite a few of those committee members to come and speak to that process. So just so you know who the committee was, the committee consisted of many of the leaders within the city of Caldwell. Doug Brigham, who is the president of the College of Idaho, Dr. Shalene French, who's the superintendent of the Caldwell School District, Joseph Palmer, a representative from the Valley View School District, Katie Dallas, who represented the West Valley Medical Center, Maria Branham, who is the chair of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, Jerry Summers, who is a member of the executive director of the Caldwell Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Rob Pilot, Sundowner Inc., and then also George Crookham of Crookham Company. And that was a fantastic group, and they took this process very, very seriously. And they gave many hours of their time as we interviewed, as they went through the applications and as we interviewed the applicants. And so there was just, there was 21 applications for the seat number 4 vacancy, which I believe is an all-time record for the city of Caldwell by far. So there was a lot of interest in it, which is great, because we love to have community participation in that. So the committee narrowed that list of 21 down to 9, and then we interviewed those 9 individuals. Of those 9 individuals, they narrowed that down to 2 finalists, of which I had the choice to make for who would take my place as seat number 4. And so with that, I think it'd be good to hear from some of those committee members that are here so they can explain that process a little bit. We're going to start with Mr. Doug Brigham. He's not able to be here, but he did send an email that he asked me to read on his behalf, so I will just read that. And he said, I was honored to serve on the Mayor-elect's committee established to review applicants for potential appointment to City Council seat number 4. The committee was a diverse group of involved community members. The Mayor-elect's only instruction to the committee was to review the 21 applicants, narrow the pool down to a smaller group of finalists for in-person interviews, and as a committee to submit our top 2 choices to him. We each individually ranked 21 candidates and agreed to invite 9 for in-person interviews. We also developed 16 questions and asked the same questions of each candidate. The interviews were scheduled for 1 hour each and generally lasted 30 to 45 minutes. The committee spent 2 days going through the interviews. After the final interview, the committee verbally shared our thoughts on each of the 9 candidates and then privately submitted our rankings 1 through 9. It was clear during our discussions that we had 9 very good candidates, but that the general consensus was that Mr. Wendelsdorf was the most qualified. Respectfully, Doug Brigham. And we appreciate Doug being a part of that. I know he's very busy with the college. As evidence tonight that he's not able to be here, but I know he wanted to share those thoughts. I'd also like to invite, I know Mr. Pilot is here. I'd like to invite him to come forward and talk about the process and his thoughts on that. I know Dr. Shalene French, I don't know if she is here. Okay, we'd like to invite her to come forward as well after Mr. Pilot. Jerry Summers to come forward for a few minutes, and then also Mr. Palmer. I'm not sure yep, there you are right there. So if you could just take a few minutes and kind of explain the process and your thoughts on that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and you council members and the old guys. Thank you for Mr. Mayor Wagner and his asking me to participate in the search committee. It was an honor to serve, and a reflection of the willingness of his administration to hear from the stakeholders in our community by asking such a, as he stated, diverse group of residents for input. Well, I'm happy to elaborate as to why I think the scores ended up like they did. I think the pressing issue is respect for the process. I think the voters have made a statement for change, as evidenced by the newly elected council members. And I hope that as you weigh the candidates that we bring forth, that you respect the process. So there were a lot of strong personalities in that room, and I can assure you that none of them were influenced by any ulterior motives. We all voted with the same system, 1 through 9, for the ranks, 1 through 10, and we put our scores at the end together, and we, as a result, bring the 2 to you that were the highest score. So, thank you. I can elaborate on how we got where we were with the top candidate. One of my concerns while reviewing the list was to avoid recycling the same players in the game, as I think it would be a disservice to the voters as we, as I mentioned before, looking at change across the board now. And, that aspect carried great weight with me, and when I saw Mr. Wendelsdorf had applied, I had concerns. I would think there are challenges when a candidate transitions from one leadership position within our city to another, bringing the experiences he's accumulated and or his agendas from his previous tenure may have potential negative side effects and be a deterrent to his leadership and his council. I was the most vocal of the group regarding these aspects during the committee's time with Mr. Wendelsdorf, given his long tenure as chief. And while his involvement with rural fire districts still draws some concerns,
His answers during the interview were surprisingly honest, informative, and in tune with what I perceived as one who would fill an empty council seat appropriately. His ability to tout Caldwell's strengths while remaining focused on the areas that need continual attention gave me confidence that the aforementioned concerns about his previous tenure will only serve as positives to his role as a city councilman. Mr. Wendelsdorf was very well versed in urban renewal, and I think that is a major aspect of this community for both positive and negative reasons, and it's important to understand the ramifications of both sides of that equation. His ability to speak for Caldwell's future outside the 9 or 10 blocks downtown that encompass Indian Creek Plaza was impressive to me. While important to our community's health and well-being, there are far more city blocks outside of Caldwell's downtown than Main Street to Blaine and 10th to 6th. It's all too easy to rally behind the successes our town has seen thanks to this group, and to overlook the work yet to be done. Mark was one of the only candidates that came to the interview prepared to speak to the work ahead of us, and that was highly noted in my notes as we vetted the candidates. Mr. Wendelsdorf's understanding of government budgets and ultimately the responsibility to the taxpayers to see those budgets are conducted in the highest and best manner. And then lastly, I would add that as a builder and developer, a former impact fee committee member, Mr. Wendelsdorf and I oftentimes were adversaries on issues, but I have always felt that he was willing to hear all the issues fairly and open-minded. I have confidence that he will bring the same skill set to issues brought to this body. So, if there's any other questions, I will stand for them, otherwise, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carly, and thank you for being on the committee. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Mayor Wagner, City Council. I appreciate this opportunity. I'm showing French for 19 Bridalwood, Caldwell. And it was a privilege to serve on that committee, and I appreciated it. It was very much like a hiring committee that you might see for a position of a directorship. Because I believe the group that was brought together came together because they see a future for Caldwell. And we want to see this future to continue. It was 2 days of interviews, an hour for each candidate. Questions were the same. Definitely different personalities in that committee, very strong personalities, and we all have a different vision. Obviously, my vision is very educationally motivated, and I want to see what's going to be best for our K-12 students and then their future going on. So I was listening for those types of responses about what's the future like for children, families, and I do believe that we followed the directions of listening to those candidates, and it was fair, and it was the candidates. Mr. Wendelsdorf has this. He sees the future. He has an institutional knowledge that will be very helpful to the city of Caldwell as we continue to move forward. That's one of the reasons I can support Mr. Wendelsdorf in this position, because we do want to continue to move forward, and we want to move forward with families in mind, and I believe that is one of the reasons that I felt that he was one of the top candidates for this position. With that, I would stand for questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. French, for being here. Mr. Summers.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, Jerry Summers, 1001 Blaine Street here in Caldwell, also a Caldwell resident at 211 West First Street. This was a rigorous routine and a rigorous hiring process that the candidates went through. And the committee also went through a very rigorous, there was much debate when we initially started based on the number of candidates that we had. I don't need to go much more about the process because you've heard that. But we started with 21 candidates, and there was some discussion on how we would rank those. We finally came to an agreement on how they would be ranked, and in my mind, I was thinking we were going to interview 4 or 5 of the top individuals. The problem was that 9 of them kind of coalesced into a solid group, and there was very small, and there was a tie in my mind for fifth place, if you will, for the fifth person. So we wound up interviewing nine candidates. All of them performed well. In my mind, two were outstanding. Mr. Wendelsdorf was far above all of them. His knowledge and history in the community at first was a hesitation, much like Mr. Pilot, in that he'd been here so long. And the question was, are we regurgitating people that have been in city government for so long? But after hearing his interview and after listening to his answers, it is undoubtedly, he was the number one candidate in my mind, and he was far above even the second place candidate. So I wholeheartedly endorse Mark Wendelsdorf for the city council seat. Thank you very much, and I'll stand for questions if you have any.
Thank you, Jerry, appreciate your time coming tonight.
Thank you.
And Mr. Palmer?
Mr. Palmer with the Valley View School District and patron of the Caldwell, or City of Caldwell. I was part of the process, and I'd like to start off by just sharing how much I appreciated Mayor Wagner establishing, actually setting the tone and capturing the spirit of what he wanted the process to look like, which was transparent and fair. He used those words and those adjectives multiple times in the initial email that he shared with the committee, and he made sure that we followed a process that was transparent and fair. So thank you for that, in involving the community and getting representatives from private businesses and also public institutions in our community. I will say that as far as Wendelsdorf goes, he rose to the top on my list as well. There's three top ones that stood out of the 9, out of the 21, I should say, really. But Mr. Wendelsdorf, he rose to the top easily just because of his past experience, fiscal responsibility, his willingness to articulate a vision with collaborating with all the city council members. That all meant the world to me. And so with that, I would like to recommend Mark Wendelsdorf. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Palmer, appreciate that. And again, just want to thank all of the committee members, and all of them weren't able to be here tonight, but they took a lot of their personal time to be a part of that. Like I said, it wasn't just the interviews, which was 2 days, but it was also reviewing all of those applications and going through that, and they're all very busy people, and we appreciate that. Not only that, but what they do for our community. And so just also for everyone's, so they were aware, so with the interviews, as they mentioned, they've narrowed up from 21 down to the 9. They did that solely on their own. And then the 9 were invited in for the interviews and then ranked in order by the committee. The rankings, so interviews were ranked in order. 6 of the 8 committee members ranked Mr. Wendelsdorf as their number 1 choice. The other 2 ranked him as their number 2 choice. The candidate that ended up being at the number 2 actually did not receive any number 1 votes at all. So it was obvious that he was above and beyond what the committee wanted in that choice. It made it very easy for me to make that choice, where it was just so much of a difference between first and second, that it made a very easy choice for me to recommend Mr. Wendelsdorf. So the committee, as I mentioned, there was no bias, positive or negative, against or for Mr. Wendelsdorf, complete transparency, nothing behind the scenes and texting or calling or trying to align. They were great, the committee. They really took it seriously, and their main goal was finding the best fit for our city, not based on one single group or faction, but as the city as a whole. That was their goal and their motive, and I can say that they did an excellent job with that. And it's also great to see many of those that were interviewed here tonight. I can see a spot a few of you. I'd love to call you out by name, but I don't want to miss anybody, but want to thank you also for all those candidates that took the time to submit an application that came in for the interviews. It was highly educational for all of us, and we appreciate your desire to serve. And trust me, many of you that didn't get nominated for the position, we have thoughts for you to serve in other positions. So we will be reaching out and asking you to be part of committees coming up very soon. So look for that phone call, and don't ignore it if you see our name on it. So with that, again, it truly is the top choice for leaders of our community, and I am proud to present the name of Mr. Mark Wendelsdorf to fill the vacant seat of seat number 4 on the Caldwell City Council. I would ask you to not only support myself in making this selection, but to support the leaders of our community who, again, far and above chose Mr. Wendelsdorf for this seat. And with that, I would stand for a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Alden.
I move that we accept Mark Wendelsdorf as city councilman for seat 4.
Thank you. Is there a second? Very good. So we have a motion by Councilman Allgood, a second by Mr. McGee. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I just feel that, two important trigger points in my view is what, Mr. Wendelsdorf said about urban renewal, his opinions on that, also impact fees, because they have a direct, impact on the, taxpayers and what they're charged on their properties. The other item, of course, would be, I'm always concerned about biases. You know, we all say that we don't have biases, but when it comes to things like budgetary items, whether it's, you know, for the city or for the fire department or for the police department, whatever, sometimes situations enter where, you know, we could have biases as far as voting on a certain budget, and those are the reservations that I have.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, get you back to you, call roll, please.
McGee,
Yes.
Albred,
Yes.
Doty,
No.
Dottie,
No.
Register.
No.
So the motion fell 3-2. So with that being said, with that failing, we do need, reasonings for that. So Mr. Sadek did say some, but, if you could express those, for the reasoning on the record of, for the no votes.
Mr. Mayor, I have similar feelings that Mr. Sadek does as well. I think that there's too much of the interweaving of the finances within the city, which pays the rural fire, and then again, the same, that you'd be on the council to influence that budget. So that's my main concern.
I have the same concern that there may be a conflict with, being the manager of the rural fire and that fire district giving money to the city and then having, input on both sides, as the manager and the city councilman. So I do believe that there's a conflict.
So I'll express a few thoughts. Disappointment, obviously. You know, we put together a great committee. They spent a lot of their time vetting out all of the candidates, coming to the choice of Mr. Wendelsdorf. I think a lot of them expressed the same concerns you had. We're able to discuss those with Mr. Wendelsdorf through the interview committee, and came to some realizations. I think some of you might be surprised in regards to some of his thoughts on urban renewal, in that. But I was very pleased with the interview process and to see Mr. Wendelsdorf come to the top in that regard. So obviously, disappointed greatly for Mr. Wendelsdorf, in that regards, but, what I would like to do is, like I said, I think that perhaps with a little time and opportunity to speak with Mr. Wendelsdorf, we'll bring his name forward again, 2 weeks from today at the next city council meeting. That'll afford the three of you the opportunity to take time to talk with Mr. Wendelsdorf, perhaps take him out to lunch, get his opinion and views on some of those things, and see if that changes your mind at all, and we'll do this again in 2 weeks.
And Mr. Mayor, I would like to have the privilege to perhaps talk to the folks that testified this evening too on various questions that they might have asked Mr. Wendelsdorf. I know Mr. Pilot quite well, and I don't know the other ones that well, but I'd sure like to have a conversation with them too.
Yeah. And I'm sure they would have no problem with that in that regard, so that'd be great to do that.
Mr. Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to be clear that we only got this name yesterday, and so we have not had any time to really be able to vet the nominee ourselves, and so I think that's a great idea to have some time to be able to do that.
Very good, then we'll plan on that. It's gotta be on the Tuesday, January 18th meeting. Just have to come back again, Mr. Wendelsdorf, but we'll get that together, and that shouldn't be an issue, should it, Debbie? Yeah, very good, okay. Okay, with that then, we'll move on to new business item number 4. Actually, that was, let's see, so actually we'll skip number 4, and move on to action item number 5, Mayor's presentation of the appointed officials for the year 2022. Very good. Very good. And no, offense to any of these appointed officials, but we're gonna try to do this, I think, in all one fell swoop. I know that many of you are wanting to get to those desserts, cupcakes and drinks, in that regard. So before I present these names, echo the sentiments of Mayor Nancolas in regards to just high respect for each of these individuals and what they do, and how they do it. I talk a lot about bang for your buck
and we really do get our bang for our buck on these individuals. So I'm excited to continue to work with these people, in these positions. I'm excited for Rob to call me his boss. Rob and I go back quite a ways. We worked together when I was in the planning and zoning department. But it's been fun, so I've been able to work with these individuals on a basis as an employee, then also on the city council, and really see their work ethic and their desire to make Caldwell just a great place, and so excited for that. So the appointed officials positions, we'll present all of those, and then try to do those all in one fell swoop in one motion. So appointed official position is for city attorney, Mark Hilty, in the firm of Hamilton, Michelson, and Hilty. If you want to stand up as your name is said, so everybody knows who you are. City clerk, Debbie Geyer. Deputies, Angie Point and Doris Hayward Rowland. Not here. City engineer, Mr. Rob McDonald. Economic Development Director, Stephen Jenkins. Finance Director, Treasurer, Carol Mitchell. Fire Chief is currently vacant, and we are working on filling that position and hope to do so in the very near future. Librarian, Lacey Forst. Human Resource Director, Alyssa Battaglia, and I hope I said that right. Battaglia, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think she's messed up, that she's got me to, to do it, so just following your example, Mr. Mayor. Planning and Zoning Director, Mr. Joel Matt. Police Chief, Mr. Frank Wyant. And our Public Works Director, Mr. Brent Orton. Guy smiley himself, you can't see it because he's wearing his mask, but so those are the appointed officials for your vote, council members.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. McGee.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the slate of appointed officials.
Is there a second? We have a motion by Mr. McGee, a second by Mr. Allgood. Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
McGee?
Yes.
Allgood?
Yes.
Register?
Yes.
Dottie?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So you have all been reappointed. Congratulations. So, and again, yes. And very excited to work with you in the coming years, and to see the great things that we can continue to accomplish in this wonderful city. So with that, we'll now do the official oath of office. So if all the appointed officials would please come forward in front of the refreshment table over here, and we will do your oath.
Okay, if you please raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, insert your name. Do solemnly swear. That I will support. The Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the State of Idaho. And the laws and ordinances. Of the City of Caldwell. And that I will faithfully discharge. The duties of your office. Of the City of Caldwell. Caney County, Idaho. To the best of my ability. During my continuance therein. Congratulations.
Thank you again, and again, like I said, I'm very excited. I think that there's some autographs that we need from you, so before you leave tonight, make sure you come and put your John Hancock on one of these if you want a job tomorrow.
So, it was, brought to my attention also from Mr. Allgood, or Councilman Allgood and Councilman McGee in regards to election of the city council president and vice president, that perhaps we should postpone that until the next council meeting as well. Mr. Hilty, do you guys see any issues with that, or should we have hopefully a full council on the next city council?
Mayor, there's certainly nothing wrong with it. I think it's, generally gonna be up to you, unless there's major objections from the council, that's fine.
Okay.
Legally.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hilty. So if the council members are amenable to that, then we will continue action item number 7, to the next scheduled meeting, Tuesday, January 18th. Do we need a motion on that, Ms. Dyer? Okay, yeah, probably should have a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Allgood.
I'd make a motion that we postpone the election of city council president and vice president to our next council meeting, January 18 in these chambers.
Okay, is there a second? So we got a motion by Councilman Allgood and a second by Councilman McGee that we continue action item number 7, election of the city council president and vice president to the next scheduled city council meeting, Tuesday, January 18th. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. The motion passes, and we will take that up at our next scheduled city council meeting. The next action item, city council anthem assignments for the year 2022. On that, and I know that I talked to some of you, there are some adjustments that may take place in regards to this. There were some things brought forth today. We realized that some of the committee members need to be on the same committees or other committees, and so these are a little bit different, than what was brought forward. But just so you are aware, for the committee assignments for the year 2022, as of right now, again, these may change a little bit, but as of right now, so council seat number 4, Mr. Doty, the golf board and the Caldwell Housing Authority Commission. Council seat number 2, seat number 1. Seat number 1, yeah, golf board, Caldwell Housing Authority Commission. Seat number 2, Mr. Stoddard, Audit Committee, Finance Committee, Caldwell Veterans Council, and Library Board of Trustees. And we'll send these out to you also, so you have them in email format. For council seat number 3, Ms. Register, Caldwell Historic Preservation Commission, Pathways and Bankruptcy Committee. Seat number 4 still is vacant, so that we'll go over that next time. Council seat number 5, Mr. Allgood, Urban Renewal Agent, Commission Member of the Urban Renewal Agency, Valley Regional Transit Board. And then Mr. McGee on seat number 6, Senior Citizen Center Commission, Friends of the Caldwell Train Depot, Audit Committee, and Finance Committee. So, as I mentioned, some of those, we had to make some last minute adjustments today in regards to the code that we weren't aware of, that we are now. So those may fluctuate a little bit, and obviously we have some more to make with the vacancy number 4, when we ever get that filled. So that is it for that action. We don't need a motion on that, do we, Debbie? Okay, very good. With that, we'll move to council reports. Mr. Doty, anything to report tonight?
I think it's just an honor to be here, and I appreciate all the support, and I look forward to improving Caldwell to the best of my ability, so I appreciate it.
Okay, Mr. Stoddard?
Yes, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, I look forward again to serving on the Veterans Council, because that's been kind of a special committee for me. I've served on it before, and I was kind of an ex officio member after I was not on the council. I still participate, so I'm really looking forward to that. And of course, the audit committee, finance, that's great. I look forward to that. And I just want to make sure that all the folks out there, you know, I can't speak for the rest of the council members, but you'll have my phone number. I've got an open door always, and feel free to call me anytime with any concerns or compliments if you have them. Thank you.
Very good. Ms. Register?
I echo their comments, and appreciate you all being here, and I'm looking forward to the next 4 years as well.
Thank you. Mr. Allgood?
Well, first of all, I just gotta say how much I've enjoyed working with these guys. It's just been, as they said, it's been family. We have, you know, I worked with these guys when I was an appointed official. I worked with these guys at city council, and, I consider myself truly blessed to have done so. I have full faith that this next council will keep moving right along, and I will certainly participate to my fullest, but,
I will miss you guys sincerely.
Thank you. Mr. McGee?
Thank you, Mayor, and, the comments that have been made previous, I think are spot on. I'm looking forward to serving with, the new group of city council representatives over the next, 2 years. Certainly, the folks that, are moving on, it's a different view all of a sudden, looking over there, and but we're looking forward to it, and we know you guys are gonna do a great job, but, the ones who are leaving will be missed. And, Mr. Mayor, for you, know that, I and the other members of the city council are pledged to help you continue moving this city in the right direction, and have a great deal of faith and confidence in your leadership, and that you're gonna do a great job for this community over the next 4 years.
Thank you, Mr. McGee, Mr. McGee, I appreciate that very much. So just a few comments from me, before we move to adjourn. I am so excited for this opportunity. Many people, as I was running for office, were like, those are big shoes to fill, are you sure you wanna do it? And I would respond, I wouldn't have it any other way. And so I'm grateful for those big shoes that were left behind by Mayor Nankolas, and excited to fill them to the best of my ability, and excited for the future of Caldwell. We've got a great past, an incredible present, but our future is even as bright, if not brighter, and we're gonna continue that great work and continue to do great things. I want to personally thank a lot of my family that is here to support me tonight. I'm grateful that they came out, and friends as well. It is a great honor. Many people had asked me, how's it feel? Are you getting nervous? Are you getting, and up till a couple days ago, I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. And then I started to feel a little bit of that weight and that pressure, coming down, and the mayor had mentioned earlier about the weather that we have. We did a day of fasting and prayer, and how wonderful that was, and to see the heavens open and be blessed by our Heavenly Father up above in that regards. And it was last night or the night before, I was just having those doubts and those fears, and one of those tiny little miracles, where we were coming out of Costco, actually, and a good friend I hadn't seen in a long time came up that I admire considerably, and I was having those doubts and thoughts in my mind at that same exact moment, and he just came up and gave me a big hug and told me how excited he was for me, and he couldn't think of anybody better. And I knew that was one of those little miracles and blessings from a very loving Heavenly Father, that knew I needed a little comfort at that time, so I'm grateful for that. And again, just grateful to lead this wonderful city. I'm grateful for all of you, and just pray for God's blessings to be upon you and upon our city, our wonderful mayor and former city councilman. And with that, I would stand for a motion to adjourn. So moved. We got it. I think the first and the second over here. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we stand adjourned.